line 8.
You ready to go?
Today, live on the grid, we are talking about sports sideline horror stories with Kelby One instructor and pro sports photographer Rob Foldy. Mr. Kuna is at a launch, so we are at a loss, but Rob will step in and do a fun job. We've got some awesome giveaways today, and including a Platypod accessory kit, a print copy of my awesome new book, and it all just starts in 30 seconds.
The Grid is brought to you by Platypod, the tripod alternative that is changing the world. Everybody has a Platypod. You should too. Go to platypod.com.
There we go. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another live episode of The Grid. Scott Kelby here. Mr. Kuna is missing in action. He is at a launch today. He's over at the Cape for another rocket launch. So it's a Kuna-less day, but fear not, because standing in the wings, coming in from Atlanta, Georgia, is the one and only Rob Foldy, also known as Rob Foldy. Now, look at a couple of things. Look at how giant his head is compared to mine. My head is the proper size, And as you can see, Rob's head is gigantic. This does not have to do with camera angle. His head is actually that large, which is a shame because otherwise he's a nice guy. But he has an enormously large head, 3 times the size of a normal head. Hi, Rob.
What's up, Scott?
How's your head?
Well, the good thing is I can only see a little circle that says KO and my giant head in the corner. So I can't see you. I can't see anything else. So I'm just going to have to take your word that my head is larger than yours.
Oh, it's huge. It's gigantic. It's no, it's just that you're closer to the camera. It's just
got it. If I sit back here.
Oh, there we go. Now your head's normal size.
A normal head.
Yeah, there you go. You're like, yeah, all right, there we go. Anyway, good to see you, Robbie.
Good to see you too, man.
So
again, I can't see you, but good to see you.
Yeah. So I met Rob years ago shooting a game. I think you were shooting for ESPN at the time.
I was.
And it was I think in St. Petersburg, Florida. I think it was a bowl game. Was it?
I might blow your mind. I think there's a picture of that.
Oh, I think I have a picture that we took together.
I think your control booth has a picture.
Uh-oh, let's see. This is the day we met. Had to be like 10 years ago?
That sounds about correct.
Something like that. You were very young. I think
I was a baby.
8 years old.
Yeah.
Are they going to throw this control room going to throw that picture up?
I hope so.
Nobody knows.
Again, I can't see nothing. I don't know what's going out to the world. I can only see myself. So
I can go look at it too. Hold on. I've got a copy of it somewhere here.
It has a very distinct file name, guys. It's called robandscott.jpg, if that helps.
That does help, but I think I do have that shot because I've seen it floating around my drive, and there we go. That's it. And look how young you look. You're just like
baby Rob.
You're a baby Rob. Yeah, and so we were shooting at Tropicana Field, which is the worst place to shoot football because it's a baseball stadium. And it is not at all set up to shoot football. They just put a field in the middle of it. It's just the weirdest thing. But he came over and introduced himself and said, "Hey, I'm Rob Foldy." I went, "What? Rob Foldy?" And he said, "Yes, Rob Foldy." And then we've been friends ever since. And so
that's about how it went. Yeah.
And actually, anyone that talks to me on the sidelines, anyone that would talk to me, I figure they're friendly. So that's it. Anyway, look, I'm wearing a beer hat. I don't even drink beer. I'm wearing Rogue Beer ball cap. Don't even.
That's a friend of yours, right?
No, it's just a bar I went to in Portland.
All right.
It's for lunch. It was just for lunch. And I'm wearing a Moog synthesizer shirt. Wow. That's a while back. And I'm shooting Nikon. This is a while back. I've been on Canon for 7 years.
I was I noticed the same thing about that picture. I was shooting Canon.
You were shooting Canon and I was shooting Nikon, and now we both switched. You're on Nikon now, right?
How the turntables.
Yeah,
as the kids say.
That thing. Anyway, today, Rob and I are going to share some of our favorite sideline horror stories. Now, they won't necessarily be horror stories. Some of them are just stories, and they're not horrible. They're just regular, happy stories. But stuff happens on the sideline that can be funny or frustrating or dangerous or whatever. So we're going to share some of those stories. We'd also love to hear from you guys. I'd like to hear you sharing some stories. And I do want to share another. I think I do have another Rob Foldy picture. I have many Rob. I have a surprising amount of Rob. Why do I have so many Rob Foldy pictures on my drive? It's disconcerting.
I mean, as long as you don't show them the private ones, I think we should be okay.
No, these are all the ones that you would share publicly. Why is there so much Foldy? It's Foldy Fest. I have you on the grid here, actually on the show, and anyway, I'll dig up some on the break, and we'll show some Foldiness. Anyway, I'm going to start us off with a story. I made a list of stories here. I'm going to start us off with one to get us going. And you guys in the comments, if you've got a great story, please share it with us. We'd love to hear about it. So mine was I'm shooting where was I shooting? I'm in some other stadium. I don't know where it was. Let's say I'm in Philly. So I'm up in Philly and I'm shooting. And man, I am literally struggling with my exposure. Like some of the shots are okay. Some of them are way too bright. Then a little while later, I'll look and I'm going through my images and some are too dark. And I'm like, God, this is crap. So I go over to the team photographer. I know him and I'm like, man, have you ever seen anything like that? He's like, I've never seen anything like that. And I know some guys on the sidelines just from shooting games and stuff. And so I was over there and I'm showing them and they're like, yeah, dude, something's wrong with your camera. So, I turn it off. I take out the batteries. I do everything you can do. Do you know what it is, Rob? Any
you
guesses?
were on ISO 6400?
Nope. The night before, I was in downtown shooting HDR. I had exposure bracketing turned on. So every five, there was 5 brackets.
There you
so
go.
we would go,
Wait, this one's way too dark. This one
this
looks
is
okay.
way
Wait,
too
this
light.
one's way over.
Dude, I shot the entire first quarter and a half before I finally figured out I had nobody knew it. Now nobody on the sidelines was like, yeah, that's exposure. Dude, you know what it was? It hit me. I was like, well, it was working fine last night when I was shooting those. Oh no, I shot a hole. Dude, so you got to figure I had one out of every 5 shots was okay.
Hopefully you were shooting raw.
I don't know. I was shooting JPEG. Yeah, it was bad. It was like a trashed quarter, and I'm trying to send something in to whoever I was shooting for, and it's like, it's not good. Now that's not really a horror story. I have horror stories. That was just kind of that wasn't awesome. That was, but that's the kind of crap that happens. I remember shooting a band one night, and the next morning I was at Monument Valley. And there at dawn with a tripod and everything, and I shot every shot at 1600 ISO because that's what I shot the night before. I was shooting the band at 1600 ISO on a camera that did not do well at 1600 ISO.
Got it.
Why does your camera angle keep moving?
I have no idea.
Maybe it's our controller.
I did watch the Apple keynote yesterday. I know that's a thing that they do now where they'll follow you around. So maybe it's that.
That keynote was so well produced. My goodness.
That was exceptional.
Dude,
yes.
that was.
Yeah, we can sidebar into that. I don't know if you noticed this. I turned it on about 5 minutes before it started, and there was some soothing background music with that cool lit up Apple logo over the field of lavender or whatever. That music built and transitioned all the way into the first segment of the keynote. It was and then they cut to the shot of the lady with the violin, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this was, it was amazing.
Yeah, it was brilliant. You know what? They must have a lot of money.
I think they have a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, and their green screen stuff is like Hollywood quality. Do you know why? Because they have a lot of money. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Can I tell you how disappointed I am that the new iPhones they introduced yesterday do not have a 10x zoom? Yeah,
so I was kind of hoping for a 4-lens version, which is ridiculous. I like the 3x over I still actually have the 10 Pro and the 10 Pro Max. Or maybe the 11 when they have to do the 13. Yeah, I have the 11s. And so I have the 2x lens, and that's cool. I'm excited for the 3 for sure, but I'm with you. A 4 would have been great. 10 would have been fantastic.
Yeah, I'm not upgrading.
We'll see if the optical zoom thing
I'm not going to
works.
upgrade. I'm not going to go. I have a 2. What, I'm going to go to a 3? It's still not long enough. And you know what?
Do you have the 12 or you have the?
I have the 11.
The 11. That's what I have.
I'm not going to upgrade. If it had gone to a 10, it'd have been the fastest upgrade I ever did. But you know what? I having lunch with a buddy the other day, and he has a Samsung phone with a 10X. Okay. Dude, once you see an optical 10X, the camera's great. Kuna bought one. Kuna bought a Samsung. Okay. Dude, the quality of their lenses and stuff is amazing. Yeah, they might not have all of the Apple wizardry behind it, but as far as the cameras are stunningly good. And awesome. I would be the last one to say that, but I mean, Kuna got one. Another buddy of ours told us about it, and Kuna was like, "All right, I'll give it a try." Dude, it is. I would say it's like a year or two ahead of where Apple is on the lenses.
So do you use it just for the camera and then send those pictures over to your iPhone to actually use them?
Yes. That's what you do. That's what Kuna does. It's Kuna time. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Let's swing back to our topic here. All right.
I want to give a shout out to Mike Cubasi, by the way. I am not drinking water out of a water bottle. I got myself a mug.
Oh yeah, did he?
So.
He gets mad if you drink out of a water. That's why we have grid cups. These cups are here because Kubasi's like, you guys, you need that. You're drinking out of like a Zephyr Hills water bottle.
Yeah, I'm sure you tried to FedEx me one here in Colorado, but I did not get it. So
yeah, we did. We tried to FedEx, but they're very unreliable. So it's maybe it gets there, maybe it doesn't. All right, so give us a sideline story. It can be good, bad. It doesn't have to be a horror story. It can be just a,
All right. Well. Some of my stories involve you. Most of them do not. I asked my wife today because I told her this was the topic, and we were kind of discussing some stuff, and she reminded me of one that I'd forgotten about. During a preseason Dolphins game, it was out of the fourth quarter or something. We were playing the Dallas Cowboys, and Scott, you shoot a lot of football, so it might have been week 3 or week 4 when there was that many weeks of preseason a couple of years ago, and there's a lot of guys that end up playing in the third and fourth quarter that don't. They're trying to make the team, right? Like they're kind of on the cusp of, am I going to get cut? Am I not going to get cut? So they end up putting forth a lot of effort. I get it. That's a good way to maybe earn yourself a spot. And so I was where I was supposed to be, behind the second line, and kneeling down, getting it was first down. It wasn't even like a touchdown or anything spectacular. It was just a regular play. And this Cowboys player rather made this tackle way deeper out of bounds than you would ever tackle somebody during the regular season. And I got caught up in the tackle and nearly broke my ankle. That the Cowboys training staff took me back to their locker room. I had to get all taped up. So somewhere like that at Hard Rock, you can see, I'm not sure if you guys can see on the screen, but there's in the lower right corner, you can barely see a little white line. And then where I'm kneeling behind is a yellow line. And those lines are probably a good, Scott, what are they 6 feet from the sideline? Oh yeah. And I got trucked, and I saw him coming, and I'm just like, I think I switched to my wide lens. And so I could see him. I'm like, this guy's going to hit me. And I tried to get up, but I rolled my ankle, and he hit me anyway. Yeah, it was no good, but luckily I was okay. My ankle did hurt really bad, but it was not broken. And then I drove back. I was delivering some couches to my wife, and I was driving those up to, she was not my wife at the time. So I was delivering those to her place, and the trailer I was using, we broke 2 tires. So I had to change 2 flat tires with a broken ankle, thanks to the Cowboys. I don't even know if that guy ever made the team.
Wow. Oh, I just found a Rob Foldy photo I have to share. It's nice. It's a good one.
Oh, that is a good one.
Right?
Also back in the Canon days, man, you're finding some old gems.
Yeah, dude.
I haven't shot Canon in a very long time.
I have about 1,200 Rob Foldy photos, and I don't know why. I think my camera accidentally triggers when it sees you.
That is a very funny photo. Did you take that?
Yeah.
Okay.
2 thumbs up from Rob Foldy. All right, we're going to take a short break. We got some more stories to tell. We also got giveaways today. We're going to be giving away, as I mentioned, the Platypod accessory kit, which has got all kinds of accessories for if you own a Platypod. And if you watch this show and you haven't won a Platypod, something's wrong. We're going to be giving away a copy of my Lightroom 7-Point System book, the hardcover book. It's out and available wherever fine books are sold. That's it right there on Amazon. So go grab yourself a copy. And what else are we giving away? We are giving away the DxO NIC collection. So the NIC 4 collection of plugins. We're giving away those. We are giving away the new On1 No Noise AI plugin, which is an outstanding plugin for getting noiseless images. All that today. So how do you enter to win? All you have to do is leave us a comment, but you need to tell us what you want to win. Like you go, I want to win the On1 No Noise, or I want to win the NIC collection, or the Platypod, or the 7-Point System book. By the way, if you win the Platypod, you also get a coupon for 50% off anything else in their store. So half price on everything if you win that as well. All right, when we come back, we got some shout outs and we got some stories, and I got one all queued up. So we'll talk to you on the other side. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
Hi, I'm Jack Rosnicki, and I have a new class at Kelby1.com on camera scanning. If you're like me and you have a barn full of slides and negatives and other stuff, what I did is I was able to do camera scans, which is very quick and efficient and very good quality, to convert all my old negatives and slides and prints into digital form, which makes my life a lot easier. And I'll give you a lot of tips and tricks on how to do that yourself. So come and watch my class at Kelby1.com on camera scanning.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by B&H Photo, the professional source since 1973.
Hey, we're back, everybody. It was funny. I just saw a comment from James. James says, Scott, tell the story about Aaron Rodgers running you over. Okay, I was going to tell that one. And so I got that. Oh, look at this. Terry says, myself and 3 other photographers are shooting a high school football game and almost got tackled. You never saw 4 people move so fast. Man, that is not kidding when that comes. And I'm telling you what,
yeah.
pro athletes in college as well, they move so quickly, and you're looking down there and you're thinking they're not going to hit me. They're gonna, and all of a sudden you're on your butt. I mean,
yeah.
I remember. Here's one of my stories. This is a quick one. It's not the one I was going to tell next, but I'm shooting the Denver Broncos. I'm in Denver. I'm in Colorado where Rob Foldy is. So I'm at, it was called Sports Authority Stadium at Mile High. So long ago, there was a Sports Authority. Anyway, so I'm sitting there and Dave is beside me. And I see a play happen, 10 guys down, and they hit the sidelines and everyone scatters. I'm not thinking it's going to make it to me. Son of a gun, if we didn't domino all the way down to me, and I go bam right over. Dude, it was literally like dominoes. Everybody hit me.
That's too funny.
Dave Black hits me.
Because if you're kneeling, which is the best way to get the right angle, it's a lot harder to get up.
Yeah, but it's also a lot shorter fall. So all I did was laugh. I'm laying there on the sideline just laughing. Dave Black is right beside me. And he was shooting, I was shooting, and I was like, hey, Dave, I'm coming to Colorado. Let's have dinner or whatever. So it wasn't like we weren't doing anything together. He was shooting for the local newspaper. And I was shooting, ready? I was shooting for the University of Tennessee. So
nice. They had a former player?
Right. So there were 2 former players that are brothers that are on opposing teams. And so I was supposed to photograph.
It's a good storyline.
Yeah, and one of those photos is hanging in the sports facility right there. Nice. I've seen it on the
Do you still have that big one of the run out?
Oh yeah, I can show that. I've got that.
That was cool.
I've got it.
Okay, so let me
tell your story. I'll go find my thing.
Another cool. So my favorite part, and we're going to talk about this a lot today, but you get to meet a lot of cool people. So we already talked about how me and Scott met on a sideline at the Trop during a football game in the Trop, which was crazy. The Trop. But you get to meet a lot of cool people. So one of the coolest things that's happened to me recently is I got to shoot the NFL draft when it was in Nashville, which was a lot of fun. And the same Tennessee photographer. Man, this white balance is changing on my screen. Sorry about that, guys. I'm just on my computer. So Donald Page, who was with Tennessee, is now with the Titans. And so we took a selfie and sent it to Scott as, mutual friends. So anytime you get to kind of see your friends on the road, that's a highlight. So as Scott mentioned, hang out with Dave Black on the sidelines. Anytime you get to hang out with your friends, Scott, Donald, Dave, any of those guys, it's always a pleasure. So, Donald Page, man,
Don Page is the greatest.
Crushing it at the Titans.
Oh yeah,
crushing it.
He's a tremendous photographer and a tremendous person. Yep. We call him Big Daddy Don Page, like Big Daddy Don Garlitz. What's what I call him. I'm probably the only one that calls him that, but he's a super guy. He's one of those guys. Very much like Rob Foldy, where if you mention their name to anybody in the industry, they're like, "Oh my gosh, I love that guy!" Like everybody is like Rob, but with less facial hair. All right, I'll tell this story real quickly. So I'm shooting in Tennessee. Did we lose Rob?
I might be back.
No, there you are. Okay.
Am I back?
All right. So I'm shooting in Tennessee, and I'm shooting with the team. So I'm shooting for Tennessee. It's the end of the game. They're playing the South Carolina Gamecocks, which is a division rival. And I guess they haven't beaten them in a while. And it's coming down to an easy chip shot field goal. The guy goes up, he kicks the field goal, makes it, and it's over. I don't know if you would agree with this, Rob, but I find it very hard to get shots of a good kicker shot because there's this gap. Like he kicks, and there's a gap where he's looking, and everyone's looking to see if he made the kick. And then if he made the kick, he's immediately smothered, so you can't see him anymore. There's 50 guys around him, and everyone's cheering, and good luck getting that shot. So
you want to know what works for me? I mean, you crushed it, so you have a good one. But two things. One, get behind. So if you know it's coming down to that, I run to the opposite end zone and shoot it from the back. Or you kind of give up that looking over the line shot, and I normally will go to – that's actually a tennis trick, but I would go to the home sideline because they normally will turn and jubo towards the sideline. So that's the cleaner picture for me.
Well, I was behind him. I was behind. Yeah. I'm well behind him.
Yep.
And I'm getting ready to shoot it, and it's the end of the game, and I'm thinking, this is going to be another stupid shot. He's going to get smothered with people. I hadn't thought to go to the opposite end zone, which would have been great, but I didn't have enough length. I don't think I had a 400. I would need like a 580 or 6 or something to get that shot. Anyway. But I'm sitting there, and I'm ready for disappointment, and I'm thinking, this is going to suck. It's just going to be a bad shot. And at the last second, I thought, wait a minute, I'm not going to shoot the kicker. And I turn and I aim I'm opposite the Tennessee bench because I figure this way: if he misses the kick and they lose the game, I'll get a reaction from they'll throw in their helmets and yelling and But if he makes it, I'll have jubilation, right? Jube, as Rob referred to it earlier.
Jubo.
Yeah. You'll have this, everybody will be exploding. And so I'm like, crap. And I turned and I said, I got all set up and I'm waiting. I got my 400. I'm across the lens, across the thing. And I go, of course he makes it. You hear the crowd cheer and all. And I just fire off a shot. And I'll show you a shot. You can see my screen here. This is the shot. That's the shot of them, Now, that was really cool. But what was really cool is I'm literally... I showed it to Don Page was the team photographer at the time. Mm-hmm. I showed it to Don Page on the back of my thing. I'm like, Don, look, I got the shot. And he calls me in the airport. He says, we need that shot now. And I'm sitting there in the airport, in the Nashville airport, trying to dig up the shot, and sharpen it and whatever, and add extra people and move the ball. No, just kidding. Just doing the standard edits. And that shot is 45, 50 feet long. In the locker room. There it is. There's a shot of me posing with it so you can see some kind of a context of scale, and me with a big big happy smile because I've never seen any of my art that big before. So that was really it was a very special moment for me shooting that. But hey, I want to do some real quick shout outs. So Rob, get your story ready. I got a couple of quick shout outs. Diane's here from Lansing. Terry's here from Missouri. Janice from Venice, Florida. AJ's here from Miami. Tom's here. Hey, Tom, from Woodland Hills, California. Kokoi is here watching from China. Jason's here from Salt Lake City. Karen's here from a stormy, rainy central Kentucky. Claudia is here from Toronto. Stuart's here from Scotland. Thank you guys for tuning in, and thanks for saying hi and stuff. All right, and we've also got some comments. So, Robbie, give me one of your stories, and I'm going to read some comments. So we got some good stories coming in.
You want to talk NFC Championship, last game in the Georgia Dome?
Sure, I don't remember. I mean, I was there. I don't remember anything special that happened besides the Falcons losing and being very sad, but being totally prepared.
We won that game.
No, that's right. No, you're right. You went to the Super Bowl. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Hey, there's Peter.
Yeah,
Peter Reed Miller.
That was one of the highlights of that game. Again, back when I shot Canon, man, these are old. Meeting fellow Kelby 1 instructor Peter Reed Miller was awesome. So I was assigned. So if you remember, you and Winston invited me to kind of join you in the Falcons crew for this game, and was able to come. Yep. So that was the OG Falcons Photography Club, man. That was that was old school. So Michael Benford there in the middle, Jimmy Cribb.
What a great group of guys.
Absolutely, for sure. So I was grateful enough to be invited up and come do that game with y'all. And my assignment was to photograph the celebrities that would be at that game. And so kind of one of the first things that happened was Ludacris and some of the So Def guys came out and met with the TV crew, and that was awesome. And after I took these pictures, I had went to go tag them on the camera, kind of got the shots I needed and got out of the way. And Ludacris walked up to me and starts talking to me, and I'm like, what? And he's like, hey, you think I can get those? And I'm like, sure, I'm shooting for the team, so I'll probably give him the team. He goes, no, can I get them now? And I'm like, okay. So I asked, I asked permission. I ran it up the flagpole, and they're like, sure. So Ludacris gave me his email address, and I emailed those. He goes, you shooting halftime? I go, sure. And so I went out there and shot halftime, and they just from, shooting them pregame with those guys, kind of knew who I was and got familiar and knew that I was going to give them pictures. Same thing. I shot some stuff, Zach Brown and his family. Again, you kind of get the pictures you need, you get out of the way. Actually very similar story to the Ludacris thing. I was there just, tagging pictures and kind of trying to be prepared for the next thing. And I looked up and Zach Brown standing right next to me. He's about, he's a little bit shorter. All the celebrities are always shorter than you think. And he, it was just, it was crazy. And that, the game didn't start. Same thing. The what's in your wallet guy, of course, and then, so Usher,
that's his name.
I started shooting him, and he was really giving me the stink eye. Like, he wasn't about it. Like, he was really upset. And so, I walked up to him, and I was just like, hey, just want to introduce myself. My name's Rob. I'm actually shooting with the team. Like, we're happy to, get you all these. Once I introduced myself, his attitude completely changed, and he started hamming it up. I think there's maybe a couple more in there, but, that ended up being a really funny day. Meeting all the So Def guys. Oh, and then nice. If you remember, so that was after I introduced myself, right? He was totally giving me the stink eye. Wasn't about it. Once I introduced myself, he was like, oh, okay, sure. I'll give you some good stuff, which was awesome. I think he sang the anthem or something. Oh yeah. What's in your wallet?
That's Samuel L. Jackson, in case you're.
Oh, I know. It's Samuel L. Jackson. And then at the very end of the day,
what's in your wallet guy, also known
as me, you, and Winston got stuck in an elevator, and there's a selfie of that, I think, in there too. And that was a very fun day on the sidelines, for sure. There you go. Stuck in the elevator, last game at the Georgia Dome.
Yep, stuck in the elevator.
You guys kept your cool.
Hey, didn't when the doors opened, like a Hall of Famer walked in? Who was that?
See?
Yeah.
If he's not in a Capital One commercial, I don't know.
Yeah, I know. You're very commercially oriented. All right. So I have a story that's not as interesting as that, but I'm shooting a Bucks game, And the Bucks, this is John Gruden was still the coach, right? So he's still the coach, and this is when he got fired, by the way, minutes before he got fired. We're trying to make the playoffs. And unfortunately, our open receiver at the end of the game was Michael Clayton, who was famous for never catching a ball. And so we're sitting there, famous among my friends to say, hey, catch the ball. So I'm sitting there on the sidelines. Now, when you're on the sidelines, if you care about the game, because sometimes you're shooting a game that you don't really care about, but I live in Tampa. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are my home team, so obviously and we talk to people on the sidelines. Like you'll talk to the guy next to you, go, did you see him miss that catch? And whatever. So I'm on the sidelines, and I look to the guy next to me. Right after Michael Clayton misses a big catch for a first down, as we're driving down the field, all we have to do is kick a field goal to win. Michael Clayton misses the thing, and of course we lose. We don't go to the playoffs, and Gruden loses his job. Now, I'm not saying that Michael Clayton caused all that, but he didn't help it along. Anyway, I sit in there, and he misses the catch. And I look to the guy next to me, and I go, come on, it's the playoffs. You're on a playoff run. You missed the ball. You're a professional football player. You're wide open. The ball's in your hands. You got to make that catch. And the guy next to me goes, yeah, man, you got to make that catch. And I realized it's Tiger Woods. I'm like, he's right here. Like, see this microphone? He's right beside me. And I was just, I ran down and got in place and took the shot. You ready to take the catch, but of course it wasn't. And so you just talk to whoever's next to you. And it was Tiger. And I was like, so here's what I did. I didn't want to go, oh my God, you're Tiger Woods. So what I did was I said, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Rob Foldy. I'm shooting with the team. And I didn't try that. That would have been smart. But I wasn't shooting for the team. I was shooting for a wire service. So anyway, I just see Tiger, and I take my second body, which had a wide angle on it, and I take a few steps back, and I turn it, click, 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 and I got a few shots at him, but it's just shots of Tiger just looking out onto the field are not as exciting as probably some other shots I have of Tiger from actual golf matches. But anyway.
Are you playing golf?
Yeah, I haven't played golf. It's much better. Can I show you my favorite Tiger shot is not of him playing. Give me one second. I have a shot that I took of him that I like, and what's interesting is you can't even see his face, and I still love it. Hang on, silhouette? It is not a silhouette, but it is. Okay. It is the next best thing. So I'll show you the shot.
Is it on a Sunday?
It's on any.
I only want to see pictures of. Yep, it is a Sunday.
Now, so here's the thing. If you look, one of the things
that's exceptional
is he's holding a Nike. Yep. Ball, and you can see the Nike logo. It's turned just the right way. So
first thing I saw. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, that was just total luck. But what I like about it is it's Tiger, but you don't see his face. I mean, it's obviously clearly that's a classic Tiger shirt in red with the black hat, the Nike logo, and it all came together. But anyway, I have lots of shots.
That's a good shot.
Yeah, thank you. Awesome. I have lots of shots of Tiger, just hitting the ball and stuff like that. I also got in trouble. At shooting Tiger. I don't know if you guys know this, but if you're shooting golf, you are not allowed to shoot during the backswing. Now that we have mirrorless and you can turn off the sound and just go, right? It's fine. But this was not the case. There was no mirrorless. And so wasn't it Dave Black that got like one of the first mirrorless cameras ever, like 10 years ago?
It was one of your instructors for sure, because I've seen
it was Dave Black, and he got the cover shot of Golf Digest with Tiger in his backswing.
When he turned it in, his assignment editor lost it. You can't shoot in the backswing, and he had to tell him no, it's okay.
I got a silent camera, and it was only like 4 megapixels or something. It wasn't very anyway. So I was shooting this match, and I thought, I need to get this shot, and I had a 400 with a 1.4 telly, so I can get way back. I went all the way down, like I'm down 200 yards, and I'm in a bunker. So I'm down shooting over the top of the bunker, and Tiger, the shot's going to go flying over my head. It's not going to land in the bunker and hit me or anything. I'm way, way, way back there, trying to get this shot. I figure there's no way he's going to hear me way back here because I can't even hear them way at the green. So I go, and I shot off a bracket of shots.
Wait, hold on. What'd you do? That was good.
But it wasn't that fast. I didn't have that. It was more like, anyway. So, dude, the marshal. So whoever is the photographer's marshal.
Yeah.
Comes running at me, screaming at me. And I'm like, you heard me all the way there?
Making way more noise than the shutter made.
Oh, yeah, dude. He was like, I'll throw you off this course. And son of a, I mean, dude, he was like, mentioned my mother. It was really bad. But anyway, lesson learned. You can't be far enough, or now, of course, it wouldn't be an issue at all. You'd be shooting all day backswings with a mirrorless silent. And by the way, I put my camera on quiet shutter mode, which is not quite enough apparently. It was a bloodbath. Hey, I want to read a comment here. We got a comment from Hot Pixel. So Hot Pixel says, hi all. A fairly recent story for me was being so engrossed in what I was photographing at the beach. Oh no, that I didn't notice the tide creeping up around me. I found myself on an elevated part of the rock. So when I turned around, I realized I'd been walking back in thigh-high water. Oh, wow. No. Oh, man. Well, you're holding your camera up in the air, trying to keep it.
Oh, no.
You know, that happened to me. I was Moose Peterson and I were on vacation. So every year, my wife and Moose and his wife Sharon, we would all go for Valentine's Day, we would take a trip someplace. And one year we went to Oregon, the Oregon coast, and stayed in a lighthouse. It was really, really nice.
That's awesome.
And we went to. Have you heard?
Is that where you got the beer hat?
No, it's not where I got the beer hat. That was a different trip. I was doing a seminar in there, but this is this vacation. Have you heard of Thor's Well, Rob? Have you heard of Thor's Well?
No.
It's a hole in the ground, and where the water hits, it kind of comes pouring in, and then it sucks back out, and then it shoots. It's not a geyser. It's just a noisy. I'll show you it. Hang on, Rob, who hasn't been out to that place where the beer is.
I'm so sorry, everybody. I let everybody down.
Yeah,
my sincerest condolences.
Yes. You let
I'm
us
sorry.
down.
I don't know what else to say.
This is disappointing.
My apologies.
All right. Hold on. Let me open it here. This is Thor's Well. All right.
That's beautiful.
It's a little too vibrant.
I'd like to go there.
Yeah, it's very nice, and you have to set up way out on the rocks. So when that guy was telling the story, I was like, oh, that sounds kind of like mine. So I'm out at the I'm out there, and the water comes in and it kind of sucks back out. And I'm standing out there with Moose, and Moose is a few feet further back. My tripod legs are in fact, I had to clone out my tripod leg from this shot. We're waiting for the sun to go down and stuff. And dude, all of a sudden, the suction of the water or whatever came shooting out of there. And dude, I was absolutely, me and my camera, completely drenched from head out of nowhere.
Wow.
So when that guy was telling the story about the water creeping in, dude, water is unpredictable like that. Absolutely unpredictable.
Yeah.
And
you gotta be careful.
You can see it do a wave 100 times, and the 101st one will just. I mean, dude, I was blasted. Like I had to go to dinner, and I'm just absolutely soaked. Like I dried off, and all your equipment's got salt water on it.
Yeah, whenever that was a good sideline lesson. Mike Ehrman from Getty, when I first started shooting for them, he's like, always bring an extra pair of socks. Because if you're at a football game or something, you get soaked and you're like rained on to the fact that your socks are wet. That's a miserable ride home. So even if you just bring a change of socks in your bag, leave them in the car, it makes all the difference in the world.
Yes, it does. All right, we got to take a quick one. When we come back, I got some more comments. I see one here from Connie and one from Carl, and I got some more stories. I have a
good story coming up, Scott.
Ooh, all right. I'm looking forward to it. Stick around. We'll be right back live on the grid with Rob Foldy.
Hello everybody, my name is Aaron Van. We're here at my studio in Orlando, Florida, on location shooting lighting for food photography. I am a commercial advertising food and beverage photographer. This is my first class with the Kelby One community, and I'm so excited to share with you my knowledge and my perspective on how to light for food. I'm gonna get into the nitty-gritty details. We're gonna get into some technical stuff, but at the end of the day, what we're really looking for is I wanna give you the tools to have a base of knowledge of understanding of how to light food. In this class, we're going to get into some of the details about sensor size, lights, cameras, lenses. We're going to look into aperture and how apertures really play a role in food photography or in photographing something so tight and so close, and how much light we need to shoot those subjects the way we want to. Not only will you have a general knowledge base to be able to light any scene in a tabletop environment, but I want you to have all the pieces and parts and tools that you need to be able to put together your own recipe for your style. I want you to take this lighting and this information and create your look and feel and figure out how you want to light your subject. Come join me for my first class on lighting for food photography on kelby1.com.
Have you ever gone to the movies and after spending $30 on popcorn and a ticket, you walked out of the theater thinking, man, that movie was just an excuse to sell toys? But I have started to think that maybe I can look at those toys a different way. And I am a storyteller at heart. And the stories I want to tell are based on those cinematic universes that I love so much. So maybe I could use those toys to tell the stories that I want to tell. The only limit is my imagination. The best part is, you could do the same thing. So join me for my class on unlocking storytelling with toy photography, only on Kelby One.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Canon.
There are 4 trucks.
It might be a node issue.
Hey, everybody. We are back. That's Rob and I just talking about my internet problems at the house. At my house, I've got bad internet stuff. But anyway, Spectrum lives at my house now. Spectrum Internet. They've been very responsive. They just haven't figured it out. It's been 5 visits in 30 days. And spotty internet. Okay, we have a story here from Connie. Connie says, okay, Saturday I was shooting my husband's University of Pennsylvania Sprint alumni game. He coached the team for 50 years. Wow. And was taking snaps as the quarterback. I changed my 18 to 400 to my 50 to 500. Could not get the lens to focus. Tried taking it off and on to no avail. Put the 18 to 400 back for the entire game. When I got home, I tried the 50 to 500 again. No issues.
Wow.
Isn't that how it is though? She's like,
yeah.
it was game day. I would have, and then she says, yep. I would love to win the on one, no noise. So good use of a comment there, Connie. But Connie, isn't that how it is, right? Like it doesn't work on game day and you get home and it works first time. You're like, come on. Carl Moore says, I got run over at a UGA game trying to get that diving end zone shot. The last shot I got was of the thigh that hit me. And then the next thing I knew, I was laying in the hedges being asked by a team doctor where it hurt. All I could think of was it hurt everywhere. Oh my gosh, you know what? Hey, by the way, Jared Foldy. Can I give a shout out to Carl Moore and Jared Foldy?
Carl Moore is awesome. He shot for us at the Falcons and Atlanta United. And Jared Foldy, look him up on the internet. He's a very talented musician and everything else, but he's my cousin and he's the best.
He says Rob's cousin from Nashville. Yeah. All right. Well, welcome, Jared. That reminded me of a story. So at the very last Falcons game that I shot, I don't think you were there, Rob. I think it was just it was me and Michael Benford. It's the end of the game. The game is over. Everyone's kind of out in middle field. We ran out and did our end of the game shots, and now we're packing up. And because when you're shooting with a team, you can keep your gear boxes on the field. Like everybody else has to put them back in the sports room or whatever and all. But our boxes are right there. Like my
That's
gear.
Really one of the biggest perks, if we could be honest.
Oh,
That's
it is
one of the biggest perks for sure.
Oh gosh, yes, absolutely. Because you can go and switch out stuff, and it sounds like a stupid perk, but it's really good. I'm walking over to it, and Michael Benford, who we dearly love, Michael Benford's got his monopod sticking out there. And dude, I tripped over it with all my gear, and all my gear went flying. My camera literally shot over the bench and went to the other side, and I wiped out. Dude, if there's got to be camera footage of me someplace wiping out on a level you cannot imagine. Dude, my stuff, one camera went one way, one went the other. I went in the middle, and I am flat on the ground, just blasted. Now,
that's nuts. I think everybody has one of those stories.
Dude, it didn't hurt. Nothing hurt on me. Not a thing. Nothing hurt. And a player came over and helped. He's like, "Are you okay?" A player, one of the Falcons came, and he helped me up.
I'm glad you're okay. That could have been bad.
Dude, it could have been bad. At my age, I could have broken every bone. Anyway, he helped me up. He's like, "Man, are you all right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm okay. I'm fine," and all. And my gears, and dude, it not only my gear, this was not Nikon gear, which would have exploded on impact. This is Canon. So all of my, dude, I just did that. It's not true. Nikon makes great gear. I shot Nikon for many years and loved it. That was just totally a joke. Don't take anything. That was just for Rob's benefit. But dude, my gear, literally, it went over the thing. I pick it up. It was fine. Had a little bit of grass on it. Never missed a beat. Yeah, dude. When you're shooting those pro camera bodies, you can drop them off a truck and just pick them up and keep going. That's what I tell people. So why are you paying so much for that body and all? It's like, because you can drop it off the back of a truck and pick it up and keep shooting. It's just, they're made like a tank.
I might shift gears here, because I feel like you're leading into the story that I wanted to share. I was going to do this one last, but I think it's a good one.
Okay.
So it was one of the – so I used to be the Miami Marlins Major League Baseball team photographer, and it was one of my last games for the team. And there was it's always the – you know what? I'm starting to see a correlation here. It's always the not your normal guys that are trying to go above and beyond that take you out of the routine, and that's why, you find yourself in – precarious situations. So there was a walk-off, which for anybody who knows baseball means that the winning team. Yeah, so here it is. So they're going to play this video. Watch third base and watch that umpire. That's right there at third base. So this is the last play of the game. So we have a runner on second. Right, so this guy hits the ball, walk-off. Okay, so this guy is not going to get caught. This guy's going to run. Okay, end of the game. We know he's going to win. He's going to score. Players start running out. Watch the umpire. There's me. Whack!
Oh, dude.
Laid out sack of potatoes.
Wow, he nailed you.
Yeah.
And you gave him a thumbs up. You're like, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm Rob Foldy.
Well, I was trying to ask if he was okay. That was are you okay?
Dude, he's walking backwards. He's fine.
Yeah.
You're on the ground.
Yeah, I think there's a still picture. I definitely got trucked. Bad. Yeah. So there you go.
Oh,
so that's what happened.
Who got that picture?
So that was Jason Vinlove from USA Today. Shared that with me. And yeah, so the umpire was running away from the same thing that I was running towards. Normally those kinds of celebrations happen around second base. But because the guy who hit the ball ran so fast, it was closer to third base, and it was just kind of, again, out of the ordinary. and whack. Yeah.
Wow.
So
Foldy on the ground.
Much like Carl's story, I have, I think there's a little video, but I got all the frames leading up to it. The frame went black. And then, but just like you were saying about the Pro Gear, because it's a Nikon, I was able to keep shooting. I had a lens on my spotter holster on the side that hit the ground straight on. That was fine. I had the Y lens in my hand that also hit the ground, and that was fine too. It was crazy. And then I did not emerge unscathed like you and the Falcon story. I got a really big shiner because my camera went into my face, so I cut my eye open. I think that that picture might be in there too, guys. But I cut all this was split. I got a big black eye, which was conveniently the day before Miami Heat Media Day, so I had to meet all the Heat players with a ginormous black eye, and that one will live in infamy for a very long time.
Wow. Okay. I feel glad that I haven't gotten hurt at a game. I've fallen over a couple times. I got another story I'm going to wrap up here with in just a minute. I will tell you a little mini story. So one of the places where I've seen the most celebrities is on the sidelines of a Chicago Bears game. So when you're at a Bears game, there's always, you'll look over there and there's, that guy. And then I can't think of any of their names right now. But anyway.
What's in your wallet?
Yeah. The what's in your wallet guy was always there. No, but there you would run into a lot of people on the sidelines.
Well, Chicago. So you have celebrities like, Fall Out Boy?
Yeah, it wasn't Fallout Boy, but no, they were like movie stars and stuff that were there. So anyway, I remember my first Chicago's Bears game. So the way I got to shoot my first game was I wound up being friends with one of the owners of the Bears. He was the CEO of the Chicago Bears, Mike McCaskey, a wonderful guy, a wonderful photographer, and sadly he passed away last year. But he was a good buddy of mine. We took vacations together and we had a lot of fun. And I'll never forget, he got me my first NFL shoot. And we're walking out of the tunnel, and it was absolutely. So I don't know if have you ever shot in Soldier Field, Robbie?
No, sir. That one's okay. That's on the list though.
Well, so for historical reasons, when they built the new stadium, they had to build it over the original stadium. Like they had to keep a certain percentage of it. So it is the stadium in the NFL where the fans are the closest to the field. It's an incredibly steep stadium. So when I walked out there for the first time and you see this giant stadium, like it was overwhelming, right? It was just like, I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't even believe I was there, that I was going to shoot a pro game. And it was just amazing. And we're walking out and a guy comes up and it's just me and Mike. We're walking out of the tunnel, and Mike's got his camera gear. He wants to shoot too. He would shoot the games with me. Like he would come down and I know he would shoot at least a half or something with me. So we were walking out to the field, and a guy comes up and he says, "Hi, Mike," and he's like, "Hey, how you doing, Jeff?" And they were talking and stuff. And he introduced me. This is my buddy Scott. He's a photographer. Hey, what kind of lens you got there? We're just chatting and whatever. And so anyway, he was a really nice guy, very friendly and super nice. And we walked away, and Mike says, that's a really nice guy, really good guy. I go, "Who was that?" He goes, "Oh, that's the owner of the Philadelphia Eagles." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Wow.
I had a mini story like that. So, yeah, unless you're the team photographer, I don't know if you guys would know this, but unless you're the team photographer, you don't normally get in the locker room. Like the locker room is forbidden for the press, but the team photographer gets to go in there. So Mike's, the CEO and owner of the team. So we go right into we're in Miami playing the Dolphins.
Okay.
We're in Miami.
Okay.
We go into the locker room. We're all sitting there. And I saw Julius Peppers for the first time in person. Okay. And Julius Peppers is the largest human I ever remember seeing him. I mean, I looked up
so the celebrities are always smaller than you anticipate them being,
yes,
and the athletes are always way larger than you think they are.
I could not believe how big Julius Peppers was. Now, I liked Julius Peppers, but he gave me that look like, do not talk to me, do not speak to me. Okay, all right. Yep. So I kept moving. I go back there, and I'm just kind of getting my gear ready and stuff and whatever, and the locker room's buzzing. It's right before a game. And a guy comes back there and starts stretching out with the trainer. And so he says, hey, what kind of lens is that? I go, oh, this is a 400 millimeter. Wow, that's really, I bet you can see the moon with that. I go, well, you know, you actually can if you get a clear night. And we just start talking and back and forth. And the whole time we're talking, all I want to say is, you're the tight end on my fantasy team. You're my tight end. He's an announcer now. Come on, who's the tight end? Like Hall of Famer tight end. Come on, Greg Olson. It was Greg Olson.
Oh, yeah.
And, dude, he's literally on my fantasy team, and we're talking about
awesome.
lenses. That just cracked me up. But anyway, so.
Because they're normal people.
Oh, yeah, he
Actually,
was just talking about whatever.
Can I use this as a segue to pitch my new class?
Oh,
so
sure.
Scott just touched on something that's very, very important. And I have a new Kelby 1 class coming out. And it's called Welcome to the Big Leagues. And we're going to talk about all that kind of stuff. So as Scott just said, just because you're in the locker room doesn't mean that you've earned that trust and that, that the players know who you are and want their picture taken. So there's stuff like that we're going to talk about. We're also going to talk about how, much like Greg Olson was just talking to him about photography stuff, all those guys are regular people. And so you'd be surprised, kind of like I was just saying earlier with the Usher and those guys before the NFC Championship. If you learn to see celebrities as regular people, which is quite difficult because they're famous, you get a lot further. So those are the kind of things we're going to talk about in the upcoming Kelby 1 class. Welcome to the Big Leagues. And it's all about how to land those clients that you want in the pro sports world and what to do once you land them.
Yeah. Wow, great. I'm looking forward to that one myself. That's going to be a great class. I'm going to piggyback off of yours now. So I'm in Chicago. It's a different game. And it's we're getting ready to go. It's before halftime. And I'm with Mike again. So we're walking around together and we're just talking, and it's just a beautiful day, and it's Chicago, and you can smell the Chicago hot dogs. It's just, I love the city of Chicago first, and I love to go there. I have a good friend that lives in Chicago.
My family's from Chicago, for whatever
Really?
that's worth. Yeah.
Well, there you go. It all ties together. So,
my mom is one of 11 brothers and sisters, and they are all still in Chicago except for my mom, who's in Florida.
Really? Wow.
Yep.
I did not know that. You know, you're like an onion. You peel away. There's another level of Rob under there. A Chicago.
And I make people cry.
You do make people cry. So mostly friends and family. So anyway, we're on the sidelines, and a guy that looks obviously with the team comes up to Mike and whispers in his ear, and he says, hey, I'll be right back. Somebody wants to meet me. And so I'm just kind of standing there on the sidelines. I'm, shooting a couple of warm-ups, but it's really just mostly people milling around, and it's not really like right before the game. There's more of an official warm-up, but this is just kind of some guys are out there, don't even have their helmets on or anything, just kind of tossing the ball. So we're talking. Yeah. And Mike comes back to me and says, hey, I want you to come and meet somebody. And I go, okay. And I walk over there a few feet, and I can't see who it is. And Mike steps out of the way and says, Scott, this is Demi Moore, and this is Ashton Kutcher. And I'm like, oh, hi, how you doing? So anyway, somebody comes up and whispers something to Mike, and he has to leave. And so it's me and Ashton Kutcher and Demi Moore. And I'm like, and they're like, oh, man, this is great. And they're talking about how much they love Chicago football, and they're big Bears fans. And we get into this whole conversation how, like, on Sundays, they're really into fantasy football, and they have these football parties, and all their friends come, whatever. And you're right. Yeah. You're sitting there talking with them. It's just like talking with two other people that you met at the game. It's not like didn't act. They were both extremely nice, and they were both very kind. And we just laughed and talked about football.
Well, the fact that you were introduced to them through the CEO probably helped.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you're saying this is a buddy of mine, and and it does help, So there was that. All right, I've got a couple of more stories here from folks that have written in, and then I'm gonna wrap up with the story that somebody requested at the beginning of the show. So this one's from my buddy Andy Lay. I got another buddy. Andy Lay is a friend of mine. Andy and I were just shooting in at Oshkosh at the air show. So Andy was there and stayed in the house Andy's a good shooter, dude. He's a lights out shooter. He's very talented with his post-processing as well as his photography, but he's got a really good eye, and he kept trying to make us all feel bad because he shoots Sony, and he's got 50 megapixels. I'm shooting 24 and he's got 50, or I'm shooting like 21 or something. He's like, look, and he's like inside the cockpit of a plane flying by. We're like, anyway, Andy says, I got yelled at by a Yellowstone ranger because I was concentrating on these great shots of these elk, not realizing they were walking right at me about 30 feet away. Ooh.
Wow.
I've been busted
That's
by
scary.
I remember I was a Nikon shooter, and some friends of mine that are all Canon shooters, they're all Canon Explorers of Lights, invited me to go out shooting in Las Vegas before Photoshop World. And they said, we'll bring some gear. You don't even have to bring any gear. So it was all Canon gear. So they said, yeah, just come on out. We're going to have some fun. It was just like me and Jack Resnicki and a couple of guys. And who else was there? Steven Johnson. And we went all went out shooting. And dude, it's just us with our tripods and cameras. It's, nothing special. And dude, a ranger pulls up in a truck and he's like, do you have a permit to be doing this? And he starts yelling at us. And we're like, what are you talking about? Well, you're doing a commercial shoot. And we're like, we're not doing a commercial shoot. We're just somebody.
Where were you?
This was Valley of Fire, just outside of Las Vegas.
Was it a national park?
I think Valley of Fire is part of a national park.
I heard, and somebody can probably confirm that.
This is 12, 15 years ago.
Yeah, so I heard that they just changed those rules, and they actually made it easier on photographers to do that kind of stuff. I think they changed the permit restrictions, and now you don't need a permit to do some of those larger scale shoots. But we weren't doing a commercial
shoot. We were just literally
you just
shooting.
looked like you knew what you were doing.
Yeah, if they see a white lens, they figure, that's a pro camera.
Tripods and a bunch of guys.
Yeah,
there was 3 or 5 or you out there.
I think it was 3 of us, 3 or 4 of us. But it was just buddies out shooting. Martin says, hey, Scott, this is a little different, but I'm definitely going to read it. It says, hey, Scott, I recently purchased the Natural Light Portrait book, and how do I do that in Lightroom Classic? Just want to say thanks. Awesome books, and they've helped me out a lot. Well, thank you, Martin. You just helped me out a lot, so thank you very much. There's a question. It's just a random question. It says, what zoom lens do you shoot with? For sports, I generally shoot with a 400 millimeter f2.8. That's kind of my go-to lens. I used to shoot a 200 to 400, but I sold that. So I have a nice 400 Canon f2.8. For the first quarter, I often put a 1.4 extender on it just to get some really tight shots of the quarterback, with a tight, shot, and then I take it off for the rest of the game. And then what are you shooting with, Robbie?
So yeah, I'm the same way. Obviously, if you guys haven't figured it out by now, I'm a Nikon shooter. I also had the 2 to 4, and I also sold it in lieu of the 400 2.8. So 400 2.8 definitely, and I actually have a 600 f4 as well, and I love using that whenever I can. And my other go-to telephoto, if I'm not shooting sports and need the fast focusing, is actually a lens that Scott turned me on when he was shooting Nikon, and I noticed when he switched the Canon. Canon doesn't have one, at least not in the same way that Nikon does. And so my other favorite telephoto is the 28 to 300 because it's very sharp and it's very small. And it's awesome. And I use it for all kinds of stuff.
So Canon has something better.
Ooh.
It is a 24 to 240.
Okay.
Why is it better?
Impressive.
Why is it better? It's
better goes to 24.
Because it goes to 24 because I can crop it to 300. I can crop it to make it whatever focal length I want, but you can't make a wide photo any wider than the widest it will get.
Yeah, I did notice the 28 is not quite wide enough, so I end up bringing the 14 to 24 and the 28 to 300.
And by the way,
those two.
The Nikon 14 to 24 is in the Guinness Book of World Records as the heaviest small lens ever made.
Oh no, the 14 to 24 by Canon is a boat anchor.
They don't make a 14 to 24.
Or no, sorry, 11.
They make an 11.
Whatever that 11 thing.
It is.
No, that is a boat anchor.
It's very, very heavy. I have one and I never use it because it's very, very heavy.
The Nikon one is heavy, but it's it's weighted so it's all heavy. The Canon one, 11 is nice. 11 rectilinear. Okay, I get it. But it's front heavy, so your camera's always wanting to tilt over. Whatever, they're both fine.
I'm just messing with you. Okay, we have some winners, and I want to wrap up my story. So we have some winners for prizes. Natalie Jones, congratulations. You won the On1 No Noise AI plugin. Rex, you must be the guy who hasn't won a Platypod yet. You've got the accessory kit. So there you go. Matt in Indiana, you got my brand new book, The Lightroom 7-Point System. And Lewis, congratulations. Lewis Johnson, you won the Nick Collection plugin. So congratulations to all of you. To get your prize, you have to email us. You have to email us at gridprize@kelby1.com. We'll verify that you're actually you and ship you the goodies, so, or send you a link to download them or whatever. Anyway, but congratulations to those folks who won watching live on the show. All right, I'm going to finish my last story, and I got some pictures to go with it. So I'm going to let me get this set here. Now I'm going to
pulled up, or do you need me to squeeze one in?
Oh yeah, no, you can just squeeze one in. Go ahead.
So one more. I'm only telling this because it was in Tampa. You know, your home stadium, Raymond James. I was originally booked. So as you know, one of my clients is Sports Illustrated. And so they had originally booked a lot of us to cover a national championship game. And then about a week, maybe a little bit less than a week before, they said, oh, we only ended up with so many, photography credentials. They're like, you can still come, but we're going to have some of the more senior guys shoot the game. Completely fair. And they said I could come because I was still, they still had us booked. And they're like, you can assist. And I talk about this. I still love assisting to this day. There's so many great guys out here that have been doing this for way longer than I have. I love the opportunity to learn, and there's no way to learn like being hands-on and watching how they shoot a game. If you shoot with them, it's kind of similar, but you're doing your thing and they're doing their thing. So you can kind of keep an eye on them, but to be able to assist those guys, invaluable experience. So they paired me up with my good friend Simon Broody, who is a phenomenal Sports Illustrated photographer, still shoots for them today. And so I was just assigned to kind of hang out with him all day, and it was awesome. And so when we got to the game, he was actually he's a Canon Explorer Light, and so he was using the 2-4, and I think he had a 24-70 around his neck. And basically my job was to hold the 70-200 and be right behind him. And whenever he needed that, he would turn and I'd hand it to him, and that'd be it. It was a pretty chill gig. And so, first half of the game, that's what I'm doing. And so at halftime, again, my wife texted me and she's like, hey, those are pretty good seats you have, which is sports photographer code for you are watching the game and you're not shooting it. And at this point in my career, I was like, oh, you're right. I probably should be making pictures, even though that wasn't my job. Like, I can't just be standing in good photo position and not have a camera up to my face. Like, A, I should be shooting, and B, like, I'm going to look like a clown on national TV. And so the next time something kind of similar like that happened, the play was driving right towards, it was like the second to last play of the game. It was really back and forth. It was Clemson, Alabama. It was a fantastic game. And this guy broke on a punt or a kickoff and took off from the other side of the field and made it all the way to the pylon. And so I'm there. I'm like, oh, I know, like, this picture's going to be right here. Like, this is going to be awesome. And Logan Bowles, who's another friend of mine, was right here. And Simon was right here. And I was ready. I'm like, okay, Simon, here's the lens. And I kept waiting for Simon to turn around and get off the 2-4 and hand him the 70-200. And he never turned around. And I'm like, oh. So I leaned between him with his 70-200 and I shot it. And I'm like, maybe it came out, maybe it doesn't. I haven't shot Canon in a while. The buttons, focuses backwards and the zoom's backwards, like whatever. And, game's over. I go back to the room. Luckily, Chris Chambers, who was the Sports Illustrated editor at the time, was down at the game. And so I told him what happened. I go, hey, you may see duplicates of this. I shot it, but I was just, trying to help out, whatever. He goes, oh yeah, all good. Simon shot it. We're not going to use it. Cool. So then on Tuesday, which is the day they put the magazine to bed, I get a phone call from Chris. He goes, so we got to talk. I go, okay. He goes, we're going to use those pictures. But since you were, and it's this very industry standard, it's all good. He's like, because it was, Simon's assistant, the rule is that it's Simon's photo. And I'm like, that's, completely fair. It's his gear. He was in the position. I'm assisting him. That's the way it works. All good. I completely understand. So there's a photo that ran double truck for that, the national championship story, and it says Simon Broody, but it's actually mine. So that's Logan that you can see kind of out of focus. And Simon called me again. We're really good friends. He understood and congratulated me on the photo. And there's absolutely no hard feelings with anybody, but that is another funny sideline story of me getting a double truck from a game that I wasn't even shooting, I was assisting. And there you go, Raymond James Stadium.
Holy cow. I was at that game. I was shooting that game. In fact, my son graduated from the University of Alabama. Roll Tide. And, yeah, I remember that game very, very well. And I remember seeing you at that game.
I was there.
You were there.
Assisting Simon.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So I thought I had one more story, but I actually have two because you reminded me of something. Mine actually is a horror story. The story I'm about to tell you, and I'm going to have to hide the name of the I'm going to have to hide one of the names, is probably the most humiliating thing I've had not only happen to me as a professional photographer, but as an adult. It was seriously the most humiliating thing. So I'm going to have to like mask all of this, but because I don't want to just create any issues. But so there's a very famous college up north, very famous top 10 school, big school. I always wanted to shoot this school. A friend of mine has family that works for the school, and he says, hey, if you ever want to come up and shoot a game, let me know. I'm like, dude, I will fly up there to shoot a game. I will just make the trip. He says, great, wait, what game can you make? And I said, this game. And so I'm actually shooting a different game. I'm on the sidelines of a game, and my phone buzzes, and it's between plays. I look, and he says, okay, you're all set. I'm like, woo! So I put the phone in my pocket, and that's it. And I fly up there to this prestigious school, and I go to check in at the press desk. And there's a desk where you check in where they look up your name and make sure you're okay. And they're like, yeah, I don't see anything here. And I'm like, well, yeah, it was, it's I heard weeks ago that I was approved. And they're like, yeah, I'm sorry. I mean, they were very, very nice, but they're like, yeah, I there's nothing here. Now you got to realize I have flown up there on my own dime. I've got all this, tons of bags and gear and laptops and all this different stuff. And there's nothing, they can't find me anywhere. So I call up my friend and I'm like, dude, they don't have my name here. And he's like, well, no, that's crazy. There's got to be there. We go back and forth and back and forth. And he said, well, you filled out the form, right? I go, what do you mean? He goes, in the email that I sent you where it says you're all set, did you read the rest of the email where it says you have to go fill out this online form for final approval? And dude, I'm sitting there and I'm in another state. I spent all this money, hotel rooms and everything. I've got all my gear with me, and it comes over me like a wave. Like, I told him, you said I was all set. I didn't read the rest of the email. So it is 100% on me. My friend invited me. He got me approved, but I didn't read the rest of the email. And so now I'm standing there. I'm with my buddy. My buddy is a fan of this school. He's up in the stands. And I don't have a ticket to the game. The game is sold out. And I'm standing outside the press room with all my gear. So I go into the woman and I said, is there anything that can be done? And she said, well, there's one guy in charge of the photographers. He's probably up in the press box. Leave your gear here, I'll watch it. Go through that elevator, go up, to the top and ask for him. Everybody knows him. And just ask him if it's okay. I mean, he can give you permission. It's, if it's okay. I said, well, it's worth a shot. I mean, I come all this way. I go get in the elevator, go upstairs. First person I walk up to, do you know who? Yeah, it's him right there. So he was right. I walk over there and I did a Rob Foldy. I introduced myself. My name is Scott Kelby. I'm a photographer, Tampa, Florida. And I was approved to shoot a game, blah, 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 but I didn't fill out the form. And now we're in the press room. Now, you've been in the press room many times, Rob. There's 60 people. It's a busy area.
The press box upstairs.
Now, this is the press box upstairs, so it's very busy.
Yep. Yeah.
And so I asked him, and I said, it's totally my fault. I didn't realize there was a form to fill out and all. And he goes, I don't know you, and I don't know that person, and no, you are not on my field. And I said, okay, well, I'm sorry. And he's like, well, who is this that got you the approval? I don't even know. So I'm trying to explain it to him. We're going back and forth. And he's like, this is not how we work at this school. This is not protocol. And he's screaming at me. Dude, he is screaming at me like I'm an insolent child, like I'm a third grader, and he's just wailing on me. The whole place stops, and they're all looking at me. And he goes, you don't realize this is just not how it's done. Rob, he is absolutely yelling at me. And I'm just taking it because I realize if I go, it's over. So I said, look, let me see if I can find the email. And he goes, well, this is ridiculous. And he's telling other people around him how stupid my request is. And granted, it is. I can't blame him. I can blame him for being a complete ass, which we don't get to say that on the grid, but I just did.
Interesting.
But he was right.
Spicy.
We're not done. So I find the email where I'm approved, which took a couple of minutes because sweat is pouring down me and everyone's yelling and looking at me like, you're talking about being embarrassed on national TV. This is like everyone right there is looking at you like, oh, God, this guy's an idiot. He's still complaining about me. He's now complaining about me to all the people around him. Like, can you believe this guy? Because I'm just like, anyway, I show him the email and he looks at it. I don't know her, and I don't know him, and I don't know you. No, this is not how we do it. We have rules, and he keeps telling me we have rules.
You didn't say, I'm Scott Kelby?
Dude, he doesn't know who the hell I am. So
you don't have my books?
No. He's screaming at me, and he's screaming and he's yelling at me, and he finally gives me a pause, and I said, so how about this? I've totally blown this. I've already told the guy. I've already told him a million times it's my fault. It's 100% my fault. So how about if we work out a deal? You let me shoot the game, and I will shoot it as though I'm shooting for your school. I will take lots of pictures. I'll take fan pictures. I'll do all the stuff, and I will give you all of the best shots that I get from today. I'll give you at least 50 shots that you can use in any way you want, in any form on your site or whatever. You don't have to pay me. You don't ever have to see me again. You won't have to do anything. Just if you just let me shoot the game. I'm a fan. I've always wanted to do this. I've flown up here. I've already told him all that, And he's like, you don't understand. Dude, he just wouldn't stop screaming.
Yeah.
And then finally at the end, we're both quiet, and he goes, okay, you can shoot the damn game. Now get out of here. Dude, he made me feel as small, dude. I walked out of there, and I went down to the desk. I just went down. So all it is I went down the elevator. I walk up to the same woman that set me up, and he said it's okay. She goes, okay, here you go, and hands me a pass. That was it. I didn't sign anything. She just goes, oh, okay. All I should have done was gone up the elevator, got a drink of water, come back down and said, he said it's okay, here. And I got out to the field, and Rob, I was so shaken up, I couldn't even shoot. And of course, I've never been yelled at like that. Everyone in our industry is pretty nice. So I go out on the field, and I'm shaken up. And it takes a lot to shake me up. I've been yelled at, in school and stuff, and, but I get out there, and what happens, Rob? Sure enough, a guy comes running up. Hey, you're Scott Kelby. I'm like sweating, and I'm upset, and I'm like, oh, hi. And they're like, oh, I have your books, and I watch the grid, and I'm like, oh, hi, how you doing? Somebody else, hey, Scott. Oh, no. Dude, it was the worst possible time to be Scott Kelby. And it took me a quarter to shake it off. And
I'm glad he let you in.
I'm surprised he let me in but dude, he made me pay. I paid big time. All right, we got it. We're way over time. I got to wrap up with this last story. So this is the one that the guy asked at the very beginning of the show. I wrote a blog post about it that was very, very popular. It's called, the blog post is called, if you can see my screen here, it's called.
I read that blog post before I met you.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers owes me a new monopod. So I am shooting the NFC Championship game of the Bears and Packers. The winner of this game goes to the Super Bowl. And the Bears are having a great year, and things are great. And I go down to the field, and they on the opening drive of the game, so we're 3 minutes into the game, the Packers just roll down the field, just bang, bang, bang. They get down to like the 4-yard line. Rodgers rolls out for like a play action. Nobody's open, and he decides he's just going to take off and do a naked bootleg into the end zone. He takes off, and I see him. I'm looking at Rogers, and I'm thinking, oh, he might dive for the pylon right in front of me. This is great. So I'm sitting there, and he sure enough, he dives for it, and I'm in the perfect position. I'm like, this is great. He hits the ground, he dives over, and he keeps coming towards me, and I'm thinking, he's not going to make it all the way over to me. Bam! Dude, not only did he hit me, he broke
your headphones off.
He broke my monopod in half. So here's the shot. So I get hit, and I immediately switch to my wide-angle lens because that's what you do. I'm on the ground, dude. I'm laying on the ground. That's Aaron
awesome.
Rodgers. Now, it's a wide-angle lens. He's actually way closer to me than this photo looks. You know how a wide-angle pushes stuff away, right? He is like right on me, like he's touching me. And I'm like, so anyway, so I wrote this story, and it was not true. So I'm going to tell you up front it's not true. But I wrote a story as kind of a joke or a meme or whatever you want to call it. I wrote it as a made-up story of what actually happened that the public didn't see. And I wrote it for fun. And it was so popular, it wound up on the Sports Illustrated blog. Sports Illustrated shared it on social, and it blew up. But here's what it said. So he levels me, and there you can see. Look at there's my monopod broken in half. You can see the bottom leg is torn off. Now this was a Nikon. It was fine. It was no problems at all. But I will tell you this before I get to the rest of the story. When your monopod is broken, nobody has a backup monopod.
No.
Right, I go to the team photographer and some other buddies of mine that are Bears photographers. Like, I don't know, nobody. Dude, I had to hold that.
Nobody's crazy enough to bring backup monopods to every game. That would be ridiculous.
Do you bring a backup monopod?
I bring backup everything.
That's because you got a big truck. You got a big giant truck with stuff. Dude, I'm flying to these places. You're driving. You got a truck. Okay, so.
When I was with the team, the team would go on the equipment truck. So we didn't have limitations.
Punk. All right. So anyway, I did not have one, Rob. So anyway, so I write this story. So, and I'm going to read it to you. So here's the picture, right? And so I write, and then I see it. The bottom half of my monopod is gone, ripped off at the stem. So I'm right in front of Rogers, and I yell, "Hey, Rogers, you broke my monopod." And he looks at me, and I guess he sees my Bears earmuffs because I was wearing these Chicago Bears earmuffs. And he says, "Too bad, Bears fan." And I said, "Hey, you're buying me a new monopod." And he looks at me and says, "Yeah, right." And I'm all like, "Yeah, we'll see, pretty boy." Just then, and there's the next picture, right? This picture here. Just then, one of his teammates sees what's going on as Rogers is getting up from the ground. He runs over, grabs his jersey, as seen above, and I overhear him say, "Hey, man, I think you need to buy him a new monopod. It looks like a Gitzo. Those aren't cheap." Then I hear Rogers say, "How much do you think it costs?" He says, "Probably $350, but it didn't look brand new. I just offered him $250.
Look at him. He's giving you the ACV value of your monopod.
Right. But what I thought was so funny about this when I wrote it is as if a wide receiver would know the name of the brand of a broken monopod. So anyway, so I keep snapping these pictures. I mean, this guy, they're a foot from me. Anyway, so Rogers did score, so I think he just wanted to get this over with. So he looks back at me and says, "I'll give you $250. And I paused and said, "Well, okay." And his buddy pats him on the back, shown above, and whispers, "You did the right thing, man." And then Rogers heads into the end zone to celebrate with his other teammates. And there's a picture of me. Somebody snapped of me, and it was one of my blog readers. He took a photo of his TV screen. That was George Zanotti. He took that picture of me, happy, just got plowed over, broke my monopod, still smiling. And I said, so here's a photo taken of the TV screen right after Rogers agreed to give me the $250. Even though I'm still down, I'm shooting and I'm all smiles, knowing at the very least I'm getting my monopod replaced. And then anyway, I get back and I go in an unexpected twist. Of course, I didn't see Rogers till the end of the game at center field while all the players and coaches are rushing out there for interviews and celebrations. Rogers sees me, and I think he's going to walk right by me. But then, without making eye contact, he reaches out and shoves a wad of cash into my hand, and then he heads for the tunnel. I just stood there more than a little stunned. When I counted the money, there was only $220. Sigh. Then I wrote one last thing. Of course, none of this is true. The part of Rogers hitting me and breaking my monopod was real, but the rest is totally made up. It's not Rogers' job to look out for me, Anyway, so that was my very famous story, and What made it funny, though, was just making up that, like the players are really sitting there worried about the photographer's gear.
I'm not sure if anybody's ever told you this, Scott. You are a very talented author.
Thank you, Rob. Well, somebody just did a minute ago. Someone thankfully said that. So thanks.
I was just piggybacking on them.
I appreciate that. It's very welcome. It's very, very welcome indeed. Okay, well, we're a half hour over, Rob. We don't even go a half hour over when it's a blind photo critiques, but we had some fun stories. Thank you so much for joining us today, Rob. And I love the way your white balance shifts all the time.
So do I.
Lean back a little. Watch. Lean back.
It's not making my OCD
lean forward.
Freak out at all.
There we go. It's when you lean forward, everything turns yellow. And then it goes back to
what's that meme where the dog is sitting in the room full of fire and he said it's fine, it's all fine. Yeah, that's how I feel, but it's okay. There's nothing I can do about it.
But you know what?
Out of my control.
Your video would be a great tutorial on white balance.
Yeah.
So
here's how to not look green and dead.
And now you look blue and dead. So, but yellow, you look very warm. Oh, there we go.
Oh, that's not me.
No, that's
somebody
our control
being
room.
Stinky in the control room.
They're being stinky. Well, good choice of words. Anyway, thank you very much, Rob. It's always nice catching up with you.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, always a pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
We have another online conference, and I will tell you, we haven't announced it yet, but we're getting ready to. But I will tell you, it is not a sports conference. But Rob is going to be one of the instructors because he has a number of special skills. I won't tell you what he's teaching, but I specifically asked for Rob because he is particularly great at this. Well, he's great at many things, but at the thing that I asked him to teach at the conference, he's particularly good at. One of the best, I think. So he's going to be showing his technique for that. Also, I want to give Rob another shout out. So at Photoshop World, my band got to play. And Rob flew down from Atlanta, and he's a great drummer and played drums. And so if you saw the gig that we played for the party for Photoshop World, that was Rob. Unfortunately, it was so dark back where he was. We should have we should have saved the money and run a drum machine. But anyway, just totally kidding.
How many drummers does it take to change a light bulb?
I don't know.
None. They have machines that do that now.
That's not good. Hey, what do you call a guy that hangs around with musicians? Drummer.
A guitar player? Oh.
You take that back, Rob Foldy.
I like the Fender hat in the Bears Packers photo. That was a nice guitar choice.
It was.
Can we tell the story about what happened at Soundcheck? And why you ended up playing the Fender?
No, we cannot tell any more stories, especially the one where my guitar literally fell off and broke.
Your NAMM guitar, that was awesome.
I had this awesomely beautiful guitar that I bought at the last thing before COVID hit. I went to California to the NAMM show, and
which is a dream of mine, by the way. I'm super
phenomenal
excited that you got to go do that. It is on my bucket list.
January of 2019. So cool. January of 2019. Yeah. I bought a beautiful Ibanez guitar, and we were at the sound check, and I guess I didn't put my guitar strap on quite like I should have, and the guitar hit the ground and broke. It's still broken. Anyway, it's a beautiful guitar.
Pop the Floyd Rose out.
Yeah, it's really bad. Anyway, anyway, Robbie is great drummer. But one more thing, Rob. How do you make a drummer's car more aerodynamic?
That one I've never heard. You have to tell me.
You remove the pizza delivery sign from the roof.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That's a good one, right?
That's fair.
That's fair. It is.
Yeah.
All right, Rob. Yeah. Thank you.
How can you tell if the stage is level?
I don't know.
There's drool coming out of both sides of the drummer's mouth.
We could go on and on, couldn't we? But we're not going to. All right. Thanks to our sponsors. Thanks to my crew who had a very long grid here today. So thanks to Christina and her invaluable crew. Awesome people I get to work with. Very, very grateful.
Thank you, everybody.
Rob, it's always nice to see you in multiple colors. And
so, not driving me crazy at all.
Looking forward to seeing you at the next Kelby One conference, which we'll be announcing any day here. It's coming up in early November. Very excited about it. Can't wait to tell you about it, but we can't tell you about it today. But everybody be good. Robbie, take care. Thanks for everybody for watching The Grid, and we'll see you next week. Take care, everybody.
I'm Jefferson Graham, a California-based writer-photographer, and I've got a great new class for you here on Kelby One, how to photograph one of the most beautiful cities in the world, San Francisco. There were so many iconic shots of the city by the bay, from the Golden Gate Bridge to the Painted Ladies, crazy Lombard Street, and those unforgettable hilly streets. Please join me as I show you how to get those killer shots and then some right here exclusively on Kelby One.
Would you believe us if we told you that you could fit studio lighting in your pocket? Well, Lytra has made it possible. Lytra is a global award-winning brand that designs and manufactures professional-grade camera lights that are compact, rugged, and waterproof. Whether you're using Lytra gear in a photo studio or underwater, Lytra's mission is to provide content creators with flexible and unlimited lighting tools that can mount on any camera, anywhere. Their lights come with a high CRI or color rendering index, making them some of the most color accurate lights in the industry. Due to the light's compact and rugged design, photographers are able to use the lights in ways that their studio lighting never could. Lytra has also made multiple lighting accessories available to fit your every need as a creator. Whether you're shooting portraits, nailing a product shot, or even flying your drone, they have got you covered. Lytra enables photographers and filmmakers to focus on their craft and create something beautiful. What will you create?
Make sure you don't miss any episodes of The Grid by subscribing to Apple's podcast app or iTunes. It's free, and we even have a special audio-only version too. So sign up today.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Platypod, the world's most compact tripod base.